Hello, the class. We are discussing the topic related to HDFS, the distributed file system of the Hadoop framework. In the previous video, we are in the middle of the step that we are talking about how to copy the data files from the GCP bucket into the HDFS. We will continue that in this video. And to learn more about how to work with HDFS and use it in our running the modules of a Hadoop ecosystem like Mapreduce and Hive. Okay. Let's review the architecture of the Apache Hadoop ecosystem. So that we can have more idea about why we need to copy the data files into the HDFS before we can run, it means, for example, Mapreduce or Hive or even Spark on this data file. Okay, and as we see it here or here, we see that HDFS is the foundation, the most basic component or subsystem of the ecosystem. Run directly on top of the HDFS in the version 2.0 of Hadoop is Yarn. It means a resource management subsystem. And run directly on Yarn is other modules or components like Mapreduce, Hive, Spark, many others. It means that on these components or subsystems like a Mapreduce, Hive, or Spark, when they run in the ecosystem, they need to access the data or the inputs stored right here or here. Okay. Now, for example, if we would like to use these two data files that we just saw them in the bucket of the GCP in the ecosystem, we need to copy them here. Okay, so that we can run Mapreduce or Hive or Spark on them. Okay, and now you have some idea about why we need to copy them into the HDFS, is right? Okay, and we will do it now. And here we get back to our SSH terminal window, and we have accessed the contents in HDFS. And you remember that we have created a new subfolder like iNewText, that is my user ID, and then under it I created another subfolder named data. Okay, and as we already mentioned, what do we want to do now? We want to copy the two data files currently existing or already uploaded into the GCP storage bucket into the HDFS under this folder data. Okay, and we have two files, right? And I want to do something more. I will create a separate subfolder for each data file. I will name the folder similar to the data file. For example, for the data file userdata.csv, I will create a new subfolder named users data. Okay, let's run the command line to create a new subfolder under data, and we say HDFS, DFS, and dash make dir, and the whole path for it is right. That is iNewText and then data, and the new folder name is users data. Okay. Yes, let's check to be sure we don't make any typo or anything is right. Okay, so now press the enter. Yes. So I expect that I should see this folder, this subfolder under data if I try to access the contents. Yes, of this one is right. Okay, so I would like to do is so HDFS, DFS, and LS, and the whole thing right there. Okay. See it? Okay. Now, so users, new text, and data. Okay. Yes, I saw the folder right there. Yes. And now I would like to create another subfolder under data. The name should be web log. Okay. So I can do this one to be faster, and I will change this one the data, and the data, and then web log. Okay. And let's check the type, check to be sure we don't make any typo. Then we press enter. Yes. And now I would like to access the contents of this subfolder again. Now I expect that I would like to see two subfolders under it. Okay. Yes, it is right there. One subfolder for the data file users data.csv, another subfolder web log for the web log.csv data file. Okay. Now we are ready. Okay, now I have opened another SSH terminal window. It means the second one. You remember that the first one we used it to access the contents of the HDFS, is right? Now with this one, the new one, and that is brand new, you see that it's this my user's ID, and here is the master node of the cluster. Let me check it. Who am I? Yeah, the same thing. It is me. And then I check the current directory. That is my home directory in the Linux server. It means in the master node. Currently, with this one, I am currently in the remote server, the master node. It is a Linux server. It is not HDFS. Okay. Now let me check the contents of my home directory. Yes. You remember that I already created a folder inside my home directory, and I name it data. And here on is capitalized. Is right. And then now I would like to move to change the directory into this folder. Okay. So because this is pure Linux, so I can use a command in Linux to change directory into it. So cd data. Yes, very neat. It's right. For Linux, we don't have to type long command lines like in HDFS. Yes, and now I would like to check the content of it again to see what it is. Okay, nothing there. Brand new. Okay. Now let's get back to what we are currently doing. Remember that we want to copy the data files from the GCP bucket into the HDFS, is right? Okay, here is the main step we need to do. First, we need to copy the data file from GCP bucket into this one first. Okay, it means into the master node of the cluster, and from there we will upload the data file from the master node into the HDFS. Yes. Now, to copy the data files from the bucket into the master node of the cluster, I need to run a command line. Okay. It is pretty long. Okay. Therefore, first, I will type the whole command into a notepad first. Check everything to be sure I don't make any typo, mistake. Then I will copy the whole command into here and run it. Much easier. Okay. Now, let me type the whole command in a notepad. And here is the notepad file in which I have typed the whole command to copy the data file userdata.csv into the folder data in our master node of the cluster. Is right. Let's go through the whole command. First, I use the term gsroutine right here, a space, cb mean copy, space, and here is the full path from here. Yes, from until this. That is the full path of the data file userdata.csv in the bucket. In this full path of the data file, we see gs colon / and here is the name of the bucket, then the folder name inside the bucket, and here is the name of the data file. Okay, and then we have a space, and here is the name of the data file that we want to copy it into the folder. Is right. We give the same name as it is either in bucket or in the master node. Okay. And it's similar for the whole command to copy the data file weblog.csv from the bucket into the folder data of our master node. The same thing. We have here the term gsroutine, space, cb mean copy, space, and here is the full path of the data file, a space, then the name of data file that will show up in our folder data of the master node. Okay, now I will highlight the whole command and then copy it, Ctrl+C, and I will paste it into our terminal. Ctrl+V is right. Yes. And I'm ready to run it to copy this data file from the bucket into this folder in our master node. And here is the cursor. I will press enter. Okay. What do we see here? The system telling us that it has copied a file of this path with this size 162 kilobytes and then into the local storage right here. And they say that it is completed. Okay. Now I would like to check the contents of this folder again to be sure I would like to see it is right. Okay. Let's do this. I move this one a little bit so that we can see it more. Okay, now I list the content of it, ls-l. And what do we see it here? Yes, that is the data file, is right? Exactly. Yes. And let's look at this one. Who is owner of it? Me. Yes, because I copy it the same way as I created. And you already know that the permission type for this one should be read and write. For the owner, it means I can access the content, I can read it, I can change the content whatsoever. However, I cannot execute it because this is not an executable file. For on all the users, only can access it. Okay. Now, I would like to do the same thing. It means copy the second data file from the bucket here. Okay. And I will do the same. Mean I will run the command line. Yes. And here is the command. You remember that this is for the first. Now I will highlight this one and copy it, Ctrl C. Then I will paste here. And ready to copy it into the local storage of the master node, and Ctrl V to copy it is right. Yes. The same thing is completed. Now I would like to check the content, and it's expected that I would like to see both of them here. So ls -l. Okay. Let's do this. Exactly. Now we have copied these two data files from the bucket into the local storage, or I mean more accurately inside of the data the folder named data inside of our master node. Yes. So what we do next is we will upload these data file from the local storage of the master node into the HDFS. And remember that HDFS is the distributed file system of the Hadoop framework installed inside of our cluster. Okay, that is the next step we need to do. Okay, now we are ready to upload these data files into the HDFS, into the folders or the directory we already created in the HDFS. You remember that? Okay, so sure, we still need run command lines to do the job. Therefore, I will do the same thing. I will type the whole command in a notepad file, check everything before I copy the command from the notepad file into the terminal. Okay, let's do it. And here is the notepad file. Okay, and I have typed these two new commands to upload this data file from the local storage of the master node into the HDFS inside of this folder. Okay. Inside this command line, the most important term is right here, -put. Yes, we use this put to upload the data file from some local storage of the server, of some server, into the HDFS. Okay, and we see the same thing: HDFS, then DFS, and here -put, and then the name of the data file. Sure, we must have a space here. Then the full path of the folder or the destination of the copying action or activity is right. It means we want to copy this data file into this folder or into this directory or into this destination. Okay, and I will do the same. Highlight it, then copy it, then I will paste it here. Ctrl V. Yes, you see it. Then I will press the enter. Yes. Wait a little further. Now, you see it right here. We just uploaded this data file right here. You see it? It is right here. Yes. From the local storage of the master node into this folder in the HDFS. This is the full path of the folder or the destination of this file is at this end. And now I would like to check right away to be sure that I would like to see this file. Okay, already copied there. It means the file should be there. Okay, now because you remember that I have two terminals, so I will use the other terminal to check the contents of the HDFS. By that way, it's easier and more convenient for me. So right here, yes, I currently have the second terminal, and I already put it there. So let me check it. Yes, the content. You remember that this is the HDFS. Yes, and I pressed enter. And you remember that in the HDFS, under this folder data, we have created two other subfolders. One is user data and the other web log, each for one data file, is right. And now, so I would like to check the content of this one. Yes. So I will type user data. Okay. And remember that we have uploaded the data file user data.csv from the local storage of the master node. Here, it's like inside of this one, is right. We expect that we should see the file there. Okay, let's press enter. Yes, it is right here. And you see the file? Yes, because it's pretty long, therefore it get into the second page. But look at here, users data.csv. That is good. Okay, now we will do the same for the second data file. Okay, and here we will copy it from the notepad file, the second command, to upload this data file from the local storage of the master node into the HDFS. And then we will paste here to run it, is right? Yes, and press enter. Yes, we just uploaded this data file into this folder in HDFS. And the same way, I would like to check it to be sure I want to see it there. Yes, and here you see that now let me, instead of the user data, now I would like to see the contents of this folder in HDFS, and it will be web log. Is right. Let's press enter. Yes, the file is there. So now we just uploaded two data files into two separate folders in HDFS, and we have done both of them successfully. Okay, so we have discussed about HDFS, what we can do with that. We have performed some simple operation with it. We have checked the contents. We have created new folders and also uploaded some data file into the folders inside HDFS to see how it goes. Is right? Okay, so we wrap up the topic of HDFS here.